My name is Steve Grant. I'm with the Parks and Rec Department, and on behalf of the Parks and Rec Department, thank you all for coming out. Thank you for whoever ordered the weather. I think it might have been Dr. Bass. We're typically on Arbor Day, we're dancing around raindrops. So every year, every state in all 50 states celebrate a day called Arbor Day, where they celebrate one of our good renewable resources and plant a tree or trees. So every year we have a tree planting ceremony in honor of Arbor Day, and then at the same time we're privileged to be able to honor one of Leavenworth's finest citizens, which we are doing today with Miss Phyllis Bass. So with that, again, today we're planting a eastern redbud tree, flowering redbud. As you can see, it's in full bloom right now. It's a nice tree, and it's a really good site for it. So what I'd like to do at this time is I'd like to ask Mayor Mark Pressinger to come forward, and he will proclaim today as Arbor Day, and then we'll get on with the rest of the program and plant the tree. So again, thank you all for coming.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for hosting this affair, Mr. Grant, Steve Grant, Director of Parks and Recreation. We have Melissa Bauer, Public Information Officer, with Commissioner Mike Griswold over here, Commissioner Nancy Bowder, City Commissioners. With that, I'll go forward with the proclamation. Whereas in 1872, J. Sterling Morton proposed to the Nebraska Board of Agriculture that a special day be set aside for the planting of trees. And whereas this holiday called Arbor Day was first observed with the planting of more than 1 million trees in Nebraska, and whereas Arbor Day is now observed throughout the nation and the world, and whereas trees can reduce the erosion of our precious topsoil by wind and water, cutting heating and cooling costs, moderate the temperature, clean the air, produce life-giving oxygen, and provide habitat for wildlife, and whereas trees are a renewable resource giving us paper, wood for our homes, fuel for our fires, and countless other wood products, and whereas trees in the city of Leavenworth, Kansas increase property values, enhance the economic vitality of business areas, and beautify our community. Now therefore, I, Mark Preisinger, Mayor of the city of Leavenworth, hereby proclaim April 27, 2018 to be Arbor Day. And it's a great day to do this in memory of Mrs. Bass, Phyllis Bass. Those of you that knew her, I think all of us here did. What a great contribution she made to the community and to just the general welfare of the entire city and the entire country. She's sorely missed. But today we have one of her sons here. She had three sons. This is her middle son, Dr. Elliot Bass. He grew up in Iola. He's a graduate of KU and KU Med Center. He's currently he's an MD, family practitioner at Irwin Army Medical Center, Fort Riley, Kansas. He lives in Junction City, and he's here today to say a few words. And please, Dr. Bass, come forward. And those, I think most of us remember Mrs. Bass, one of her famous sayings, 10 words she would say at the beginning or the end of every meeting. If it is to be, it is up to me. Those 10 two-letter words, and she pushed that, or encouraged young people and people of all ages to take responsibility for themselves, and she did an outstanding job. And here's one of her sons to show that she was a heck of a leader and a heck of a parent. Dr. Bass. Thank you.
Good morning. When the city came or called, I guess it was actually William Wallace that gave me a call and said they want to talk to you about planting a tree in honor of your mom. So I got a hold of them, and it's kind of interesting that the last year and a half to 2 years of her life, she basically dwelt on trees. She loved the outdoors, but we would ride down the road and she'd say, they need to cut that tree out. That's a bad tree.
And I left one Sunday to go back to Fort Riley, and an hour later she called and said, it's a good thing you left because the tree in the front yard fell across the driveway and would have hit your car. And from that point on, every Saturday, we sat on the patio drinking coffee, and she talked about the trees, and she'd get the neighbors and say, you need to go to the city with me so we can make them cut these trees down the bed. So it's quite an honor to see a tree planted for her. When he said it was a redbud tree, I told him that was my dad's favorite tree. And when he had cancer, Mom had one planted in the backyard, and it's still standing some 40 years later. So again, thanks for the honor. I wish my brothers and family could be here, but they all had to work. And then they said I could ask anybody to come up and talk, so I asked Commander Philpott if he'd have a few words to say.
Good morning. Morning. What a lovely day for a lovely occasion. The last time I talked to Miss Bass, I stopped by her house in the afternoon, and she was saying that I got to get these leaves out of my yard. It wasn't that many leaves. So to the mayor, the family, pastor, and all the friends of Mrs. Bass that's here today. Strong roots give good trees. Oh, strong roots give good fruit. I'm sorry, I don't have my glasses. Somewhere it talks about the final spring feast. And beginning with the Passover and days of unleavened bread, weeks later, they observed the final spring feast, Pentecost, also comes called the Feast of First Fruits. I think that anybody that touched Mrs. Bass, we become first fruits from her, outside of her family. And certainly, it could not be a better place for this tree than to this great fruit that she left here for us. I think it's Psalms 1 and 3. I got a lot of Bibles, but I don't read them all, I can't remember them all. And she shall be like a tree planted by the rivers of waters. Mrs. Bass' roots were so strong, I'm sure that these roots right here will suck water from the Missouri River. And as I said before, she's one of the few people that make me feel short. But I always feel strong and tall once I got out of her presence. So to those who are keeping her legacy going, I want to thank Dr. Bass and the family and the sisters here for allowing me to say these few words. So thank you very much for coming out. And certainly as we pass this tree, don't let me touch it. I can't grow artificial flowers. So take care. Doc, thanks for this opportunity. And she shall be like a tree planted by the river with the water. And strong roots give good fruits. And Mrs. Bass certainly let a lot of good fruit. Thank you very much.
Is there anybody else who would like to come up and speak or say a few words?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. When I first became a pastor, Miss Bass took me walking, showing me those trees. And she really loved, I guess she just really loved plants. But I just want to say this, when Miss Bass passed and spoke of her spirit, and I left her note back, she would be a light because she's done so much for the community. But now that I see this tree, she'll be a tree that's planted by the rivers of water. And when you pass by, you can say, "Hi, Miss Bass." Hallelujah. Miss Bass is such a wonderful man. She left such a beautiful legacy because But when I pass her house now, I still can see Miss Bass in the house. Amen?
As we talk about Miss Bass leaving a legacy, every time you come in the museum, there's something that we can point out that Miss Bass had a saying about. Whether it was about the man who was on the wall, who she used to always say, if she was a single woman, she'd have a cup of coffee and some dessert with him on a Friday evening. So as we look at this tree, when the city called to plant it, I knew it would have to be something that had color in it, because Miss Bass loved flowers. Anywhere you've been, whether it's across the street at Bethel, she would be pulling the weeds out. She'd talk about the tree that's right there on the corner behind the church just before she passed away, about the city needed to come and see about that tree. Because she saw a lot of trees in the city that didn't look like they were healthy anymore, as Dr. Bass said when she sat out on the deck with him to have coffee. So every day when I look out the window and I see this tree, not will she just be seen in color, but she will always be here in our hearts. As Philpott said, those roots grow strong and they'll never die.
Anybody else care to say a few words? Okay, now I would like to invite everybody. We have a couple of shovels here and some dirt, and to officially help us finish planting this tree. And then also we have cookies and tea and water over here, so please help yourself. And again, thank you all for coming out this morning, and let's plant the tree.
Rick, get a picture of you doing it? Movie's good. Movie's gone.